Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. I will now be yielding the floor to the President of the General Assembly.
Your Excellencies, Director, United Nations Information Center, Nigeria, our distinguished Tutor Generals, Permanent Secretary of Lagos Education District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4, District 5, and District 6. Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic communities. Your Excellencies, delegates of Lagos Secondary School, Model United Nations, Lassmun. Members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The seventh section of the Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations General Assembly is hereby called to order. Your Excellencies, the provisional agenda for this seventh section of Lassmun General Assembly is with you, and this needs to be adopted before we proceed. The delegates of Israel, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion. Thank you, delegates. Is there any delegate to second the motion for adoption of the agenda? The delegate of Liberia, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion. Thank you, delegates. The provisional agenda for the seventh section of Lassmun General Assembly is hereby deemed adopted. Having adopted the agenda for this Lassmun General Assembly, the President rises to address your Excellencies. Director, United Nations Information Center, Nigeria, our distinguished General Permanent Secretary, Your Excellencies, members of the diplomatic communities, delegates of Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations, Lassmun, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to the seventh section of Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations, Lassmun. This year, we are gathered under a theme that is both urgent and deeply relevant to the future of our society: digital transformation of the education sector as a driver of sustainable development. At a time when the world is being reshaped by science, technology, and innovation, education must not be left behind. Our classrooms, our teaching mentors, and our systems of learning must evolve to meet the demands of a changing world. Quality education remains one of the strongest foundations for human progress. It shapes opportunities, promotes equity, and strengthens the social and economic future of nations. Yet, if digital transformation is to truly serve sustainable development, it must be inclusive, responsible, and just. Technology must not deepen inequality. It must bridge gaps and expand access, empower teachers, and ensure that every learner, regardless of background or location, has the opportunity to thrive. The challenge before us, therefore, is not simply to digitize education, but to transform it with purpose. We must think carefully about access, affordability, teacher development, ethical innovation, child safety, and the protection of human rights in digital learning spaces. We must also ensure that girls, learners with disability, and undeserved communities are not left at the margins of this progress. Dear delegates, this conference is a reminder that the future is not built by silence, but by thoughtful dialogue, bold ideas, and responsible leadership. Over the course of this assembly, I urge you to debate with courage, listen with humility, and lead with vision. Let your speeches be informed, your arguments respectful, and your resolution be practical. As young leaders, you are not merely preparing for the future, you are already helping to shape it. It is therefore with great pride that as the president of the 7th session of Lagos Secondary School Model United Nation, Lassmun General Assembly, I wish you all a fruitful and memorable conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam PGA. I would once again like to recognize Mr. Jamiu Tolani Ali Balogun, the Honorable Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education. Over to you, Madam President.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst dignitaries from the Lagos State Government, federal parastatals, private sector, the UN systems, as well as the diplomatic community. We need to listen to their statement and words of advice. Your Excellencies, the delegates, you may move a motion for the suspension of debate for our dignitaries to take the floor. The delegate of Israel, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. Delegates of Israel rise to move a motion for the suspension of the debate for the dignitaries to take the floor. The delegates of Israel use the floor back to the Madam President.
Thank you, delegates. Is there any delegate for the second motion? The delegate of Liberia, you recognize. Please proceed to move your motion.
Thank you, Madam President. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia rises to second the motion that the proceedings should be suspended for the dignitaries to take the floor. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia hereby use the floor. Back to the President.
Thank you, delegates. It is my pleasure to invite the Tutor General Permanent Secretary of Lagos State Education District 6, the amiable Mrs. Mojisola Christiana Yusuf, to give a welcome address. The floor is yours to JPS.
The Honorable Commissioner of Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jamiu Tolani Ali Balogun, the Tutors General Permanent Secretaries, Education District 1 to 5, the Director of the United Nations Information Center, dedicated members of the Lassmun Organizing Committee, and most importantly, my brilliant student delegates, the future architects of our global landscape, distinguished guests and parents present here, I say good morning and welcome to the 7th edition of the Lagos State Secondary Schools Model United Nations. It is an absolute joy to see this hall filled with the vibrant energy of young leaders ready to take on the world. I welcome you all to Lassmun 2026. Today, we aren't just opening a conference, we are igniting a movement. We stand at a unique crossroads where tradition meets innovation, and I am thrilled to see so many of you eager to lead that transition. Our theme this year, digital transformation in the education sector as a driver of sustainable development, is not a mere academic exercise. It is the reality of our survival and success. We live in an era where a tablet can be a library, a classroom can be a global village, and data is the new currency of progress. Digital transformation is the engine that will close the gap of inequality and accelerate our journey towards sustainable development goals. By integrating technology into how we learn, we aren't just digitalizing lessons, we are democratizing opportunities. To you, our delegates, today you step into the shoes of global diplomats. I charge you to embrace this role with vigor and intellectual discipline. Think beyond borders. The digital world has no walls. Let your solutions reflect that same limitlessness. Negotiate with empathy. Diplomacy is the art of finding common ground in a fragmented world. Be bold. Do not fear complex problems. Technology requires us to be agile, and your fresh perspectives are exactly what the global stage needs right now. You are here to prove that leadership has no age limit and that innovation knows no bounds. As we begin this journey, remember that tools of technology are only as powerful as the human hearts that guide them. Our goal is not just to build better machines, but to build better societies. I leave you with the words of former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, who rightly said, knowledge is power, information is liberating, education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family. Let us use this 2026 Lassmun conference to turn the knowledge into action and that information into a future where no child is left offline. Delegates, the world is watching. The digital stage is set, and the floor is now yours. I formally declare the 2026 Lassmun Conference open. Thank you.
May I invite the Director of the UN Information Center, Mr. Ronald Kanyoja, for the opening remarks.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address the 7th General Assembly of the Lagos Secondary Schools Model United Nations. The Honorable Lagos State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education and other officials from the Lagos State Government, the President and other officials of the 7th Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations General Assembly, other officials, distinguished delegates, let me start by apologies that we are not physically with you. As we have always done, we've always been with you in the last Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations 6 years now. But I would like to thank all our partners, the TGPS of all the educational districts in Lagos, directors and teachers. Thank you so much for your collaboration. Without you, I don't think we would have had this 7th Lassmun. Thanks also to the students who have been working hard behind the scenes, leading us to the event of today. You'll hear a message from my boss, the Secretary General of the UN, and also a colleague will talk more about the theme of today. But delegates, I want to thank you for joining the Model UN at a time when our world faces many challenges. As you can hear from the news, conflicts in the Middle East, in various parts of the world, climate change, pressures, and really that feeling of uncertainty. And it is for such times that the United Nations was formed, to bring people together from countries around the world to seek for solutions to problems that affect all of us. So this Lassmun provides the opportunity for you, delegates, to step into the shoes of these global leaders who always grapple with real-world problems. You learn what it takes for leaders to solve problems that affect all of us through dialogue. The theme for this 7th Lassmun General Assembly is also very timely. As I think one of the speakers has said, cutting-edge education is central to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, and we know that no country can achieve all these goals on their own. And that is why member states agreed on a global digital compact, which, among other things, calls for ensuring equal access to digital platforms and connectivity to people from all countries. From our end, we think that young people must not be spectators in global affairs. You must be participants. Multilateral institutions like the United Nations need your energy, your ideas, and your activism. We need that your bold voices are heard because you are able to give us an imagination of a better world. Someone said that we sometimes hear a lot about what is not going well in the world, the problems the world is facing, but we can still imagine a better world, which we can build together. And we can imagine solutions and start implementing solutions, especially for you young people, to implement in the coming years. So as you begin your deliberations, I encourage you to take this seriously, but also enjoy it. Speak with confidence, listen. You may be modeling today, it may be model United Nations, but I know that some of you will be the diplomats and leaders in the not so distant future who will be dealing with these very same issues. In that sense, you are not just modeling the United Nations, you are rehearsing what we expect you to do when you get into those positions. You may be delegates for Lassmun today, but I believe that in the future, you'll be the diplomats working in New York, in Geneva, in everywhere to bring solutions to our world. You may be the leaders of your country. You may be the people working in systems, in the United Nations, in the World Bank, in multilateral systems to bring solutions to this world. So don't take this as just a model UN event, but look at it as something that you are rehearsing as global citizens of something you will participate in and contribute. So I would like to thank you so much for your participation. Again, I would like to thank Lagos State Government, especially the Ministry of Education, for the partnership we've had with you over these years to organize the Lagos State Secondary School Model UN, and we will continue this because it is good for the young people to think globally and to be actors in the model in the global stage. So thank you for deciding to shape our world. I wish you a very successful and inspiring 7th Lagos State Model United Nations General Assembly. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, it is now my distinct honor to invite the Honorable Commissioner to give his welcome address. Honorable Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jamiu Tolani Ali Balogun. Please let's keep clapping for His Excellency.
Kindly be seated. Allow me to rest on well-established protocol. My amiable students are amiable students. Good morning to you all and well done. Here is about stimulation for future leadership. And the future starts from now. The earlier you know about what is called leadership, the better for our society. We are here today to address one of the core challenges of education governance in the present global world, most especially in Africa, which has to do with digital transformation. We cannot just fold our arms and pretend that we cannot compete favorably with the international community. The introduction of digitalization and digital learning in our school space has really improved teaching and learning outcome. And to we all, whatever we want to know is more or less on our toes, on our fingers. Just a click, you get whatever information you want to get. It has really enhanced the pedagogy in teaching and learning. It has also saved time, energy, and resources. Nowadays, you can have an online classes without being in a class physically. That implies a reduction in infrastructural costs at the long run. But basically, whatever we are here to deliberate upon today is about stimulation. It's about you identifying with the societal challenges and knowing how to come up with solutions to redeem those challenges. We want a better future for all of us. We want a better society whereby every child can have access to quality education. And that is the power of digital e-learning. We distributed tablets to some schools. Meanwhile, we have other NGOs who also come on board to distribute tablets to many schools in Lagos State. That is to show that we are really interested in your future. And there are so many platforms on which we have invested. One of them is Eco e-learning platform, whereby you have access to live recording of 10 subjects and can equally interact with teachers. And on that platform also, you have past questions in which we prepare students for the SSCE exam, WAEC, and NECO. And that has also enhanced the performance of our SS3 students in Lagos State, whereby we came first across the federation last year. We came first in the WAEC, we came first in the NECO. That is to show you the power of e-learning. With more focus, less distraction, we always get here. And I want you all to embrace that platform so that you can have access to resources that you needed to further know more about various subjects you are offering in your various classes. So, once again, I'm proud of you. I want you to promise me that the future is bright, that you'll be one of the best in your schools, that you'll be a good ambassador not only to your school, but to your parents and your communities. I wish you happy and fruitful deliberation. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner. You may please resume your seats. Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for the impactful words of wisdom. I would like to recognize the Tutor General and Permanent Secretary for the Education District 2, Mr. Sonny Layemo. I would also like to recognize a representative of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Joshua Bolarinwa, who is representing the Director General, Professor Ehosa Emmanuel Osagi. Thank you very much. I yield the floor back to the President of the General Assembly.
General of Lassmun 2025, Ambassador Praise Oyekumbi, to address this 7th section of Lassmun General Assembly. The President of the General Assembly, heads of government, distinguished delegates, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today not only as Secretary General, but as a witness to a troubling paradox. In one hand, humanity holds a device containing the vast sum of human knowledge. In the other, we hold evidence that over 90% of children in least developed countries cannot read a simple sentence by age 10. This is not a technological failure. It is a failure of political will. The world emerged from a pandemic that shut down classrooms and shattered learning systems. We promised to rebuild better, yet in 2026, we are still fighting the last war, handing paper textbooks to a generation that speaks in algorithms. Distinguished delegates, the theme of this assembly, digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver for sustainable development, is not a slogan. It's an emergency response to a looming demographic crisis. Digital transformation is not about tablets gathering dust in storerooms. It is about resilience. When floods erase classrooms, cloud-based learning preserves continuity. When children are excluded from physical schools, digital assets can become their gateway to opportunity. When learners lack teachers, adaptive technology can help bridge the gap. But let us be clear, technology without equity is not progress, it is injustice. The Sustainable Development Goals are under siege, and SDG 4, quality education, is bleeding most visibly. The digital divide has become a canyon. While the wealthiest schools enjoy limitless connectivity, half of the world's schools remain offline. Sustainable development cannot advance when opportunity moves at a radically different speed. Therefore, as Secretary General of Lassmun 2026, I present 3 urgent calls to action. First, the Connect Every Learner Pact. By 2028, every primary and secondary school must have access to basic digital infrastructure. Connectivity is no longer optional. It is as fundamental as clean water. We must create a global, open source digital library, accessible, localized, and free from commercial exploitation. Second, the Human First AI Accord. Artificial intelligence will not replace teachers, but teachers who use AI will lead the future of education. We must upskill millions of educators, focusing on digital fluency, ethical use, and critical thinking. The tool is neutral. Our pedagogy must be purposeful. Third, the skills to SDGs pipeline. Education must prepare students for emerging challenges, climate action, decent work, and sustainable innovation. Digital skills must translate directly into solving global problems. Delegates may say budgets are limited, infrastructure is unstable, or cultures non-digital. The United Nations rejects these excuses. The technology exists. The cost is falling. The barrier is courage. The nations that will lead this century will not be those with the strongest weapons, but the sharpest collective intelligence. A connected learner is more powerful than any arsenal. We were founded to solve the impossible. Let us commit to a future where every child, everywhere, holds a universe of knowledge in their hands. If we fail not only the SDGs, but the future itself. Thank you, and I wish all delegates a bold and transformative debate. Next is the message of the UNDP, Head of Innovation, Mr. William Tusma, representing the acting UN resident and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria, Ms. Ese Otafor.
Your Excellencies, Mars and Sars, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the brilliant young minds in the room. I'm getting this stare. Everybody's looking at me like I'm young, and I get that a lot. Greetings. It's a pleasure to join you today from UNDP, Nigeria. I've heard some brilliant speeches. I'm going to keep mine very short and sweet. But let me begin with a simple reflection. In 2020, when schools were shut down across the world as a result of the COVID pandemic, over 70% of students were affected, and millions of learners in Nigeria were left without access to education. That moment revealed something very important, that our education systems must be resilient, adaptable, and future-facing. Today, we speak about digital transformation in education. And when we speak about it, we're not just talking about technology. We're talking about access, we're talking about opportunity, and we're talking about the future of young people like you. Across the United Nations system, we're working to support this shift. At the United Nations Development Program, through our innovation, digital transformation, and knowledge economy portfolio, we are supporting initiatives like the University Innovation Pods. Now, these are spaces where young people are not just learning, but they are building, they are experimenting, and turning ideas into real solutions. They have access to cross-cutting technology and digital tools. They have access to hardware, because hardware is also important. They get the opportunity to work on real problems,
to build ideas, right, and turn them into products or solutions that can be scaled. They also have the opportunity to collaborate across different fields. But more importantly, it's not just about these tools, it's about helping young people move from learning to creating. It's about connecting our human capital resource, which is each and every one of you here in this room, to economic development. It's about converting innovation into investment-ready enterprises, linking young people like yourself and myself to productive employment pathways. And even though these pods are in universities, the journey starts with all of you in this room. Beyond platforms and infrastructure, there is something even more important, and that is your mindset. Digital transformation will only succeed if young people like yourselves are willing to learn differently, to think creatively, and to take initiative, because our sustainable development depends on this. You see, the future we're looking towards is one where education leads to opportunity. The skills that you have, they translate into jobs and enterprise, and no one is left behind. So today, I leave you with this. Do not see yourselves as just students. See yourselves as creators. See yourselves as problem solvers. See yourselves as future leaders. On behalf of UNDP Nigeria, we remain committed to supporting you, to working with partners in this room, and strengthening systems that allow you to thrive. And I really look forward to the ideas, the innovations, and leadership that will emerge from this room. Thank you so much, and I wish you a very engaging conference.
Your Excellencies, the Assembly is hereby called to order. The next item on the agenda is delegate roll call. When the rapporteur calls your country, please raise your placards and answer present or present and voting. The rapporteur, Ambassador Goodluck Edafe, may proceed with the roll call.
Okay, so I'll proceed with the roll call. And dear esteemed delegates, once your country is being mentioned, you respond by present or present and voting. The delegate of Algeria, the delegate of Bahamas, the delegate of Belize, the delegate of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the delegate of Cape Verde, the delegate of Canada, the delegate of Comoros, the delegate of Democratic Republic of Congo, the delegate of Eritrea, the delegate of Fiji, the delegate of Guinea-Bissau, the delegate of Haiti, the delegate of Indonesia, the delegate of Italy, the delegate of Kyrgyzstan, the delegate of Luxembourg, the delegate of Monaco, the delegate of Mauritania, the delegate of Niger, the delegate of Peru, the delegate of Republic of South Korea, the delegate of St. Vincent, the delegate of Sierra Leone, the delegate of Somalia, the delegate of Sweden, the delegate of Suriname, the delegate of Tajikistan, the delegate of Tuvalu, the delegate of Ukraine, the delegate of the United States of America, the delegate of Poland, the delegate of Cyprus, the delegate of Andorra, the delegate of Argentina, the delegate of Barbados, the delegate of Burkina Faso, the delegate of Central African Republic, the delegate of Côte d'Ivoire, the delegate of Denmark, the delegate of Eswatini, the delegate of Germany, the delegate of Gambia, the delegate of India, the delegate of Japan, the delegate of Kiribati, the delegate of Malta, the delegate of Mongolia, the delegate of New Zealand, the delegate of Panama, the delegate of Oman, the delegate of Rwanda, the delegate of St. Lucia, the delegate of Spain, the delegate of Sudan, the delegate of Albania, the delegate of Azerbaijan, the delegate of Bahrain, the delegate of Brunei, the delegate of China, the delegate of Colombia, the delegate of Cuba, the delegate of France, the delegate of Iraq, the delegate of Israel, the delegate of Libya, the delegates of Malawi, the delegates of Netherlands, the delegates of Pakistan, the delegate of Romania, the delegate of Saudi Arabia, the delegate of Uganda, the delegate of Antigua and Barbuda, the delegate of Belarus, the delegate of Botswana, the delegate of the Republic of Congo, the delegate of Croatia, the delegate of Malaysia, the delegate of Mozambique, the delegate of Mauritius, the delegate of South Sudan, the delegate of Senegal, the delegate of Tunisia, the delegate of United Kingdom, the delegate of Togo. There are 123 delegates present and 5 absent. I hereby yield the floor back to the President.
Having taken the roll call, we shall be proceeding to debate. But before then, a motion may now be moved to determine time limit for delegate to speak. The floor is now open. The delegate of Iraq, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion.
The delegates of Iraq rises to move the motion for the time allotted to each speaker to be 2 minutes. The delegates of Iraq yields the floor back to Madam President.
Thank you, delegate. Is there any delegate to second the motion that the time limit for speakers to be set at? The delegate of Malaysia, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion.
Delegate of Malaysia yields the floor back to Madam President.
Thank you, delegate. Is there any motion for a different time limit for speakers? The delegate of Israel, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. The delegate of Israel rises to move a motion for the time allocated to each speaker should be 3 minutes. The delegates of Israel yield the floor back to the Madam President.
Thank you, President. Thank you, delegate. Any delegate to second the motion that the time limit to be set at? The delegate of Sweden, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion.
The delegate of Sweden hereby seconds the motion. The delegate of Sweden yields the floor back to the President.
The delegate of Sweden, please, you're out of order. Uganda, you're recognized. Please.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. The delegate of Uganda rises to second the motion. For the time limit allowed for each delegate should be 3 minutes. The delegate of Uganda hereby use the floor back to the President.
Thank you, delegate. Excellencies, there are 2 motions on the floor. The first proposes a time limit of 2 minutes for speakers, while the second proposes a time limit of 3 minutes. This will now be put to voters. Distinguished delegates, if you are in support of 2 minutes as time limit for speakers, please raise your placards.
Okay, so we have 25 votes for 2 minutes for the adoption of 2 minutes for each delegate.
If you are in support of the second motion that the time limit will be at 3 minutes, please raise your placards.
Okay, so we have 20 delegates that are supporting the adoption of 3 minutes.
Excellencies, those who voted for 2 minutes, wait, how many? How many were there for those who voted for 2 minutes? 25. Those who voted for 3 minutes, wait, how many? 20. Therefore, the time limit for speakers to be set at this 7th Lassmun General Assembly is hereby set at 2 minutes. The voting will be suspended for now.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Your Excellencies, we would quickly have a temporary pause in the proceedings of the General Assembly. So we would like to invite all dignitaries present to please follow us for a quick photo session to allow the Commissioner to return back to his duties. Sorry, the photos will be taken outside, please. Members of the dais, please join them. Your Excellencies, lovely delegates, please let's maintain decorum while this is going on. Thank you. Your Excellencies, please raise your placards high above your heads. Your Excellencies, thank you very much. We sincerely apologize for that break in the proceedings of the General Assembly. Before I yield the floor back to the President of the General Assembly, I would like to invite the representative for the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Joshua Bolarinwa, to come and give his opening address.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished students and delegates at this assembly, and the authorities. You are all welcome to the 7th edition of Lagos Secondary Schools Model United Nations. I'm here to represent the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, Professor Ehosa Osagai. I am Joshua Olusegun Bolarinwa. I'm the Director of Research at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs. These are his remarks. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to speak on the important and this timely topic. In the 21st century, rapid technological advancements have significantly reshaped various sectors of the society, with education being one of the most significantly impacted. The integration of digital technologies into educational systems, which is commonly referred to as digital transformation, has redefined teaching, learning, and administrative processes. This transformation is not merely about adopting new tools, but involves a systemic shift toward more inclusive, efficient, and innovative educational practices. As countries strive to achieve sustainable development, the digital transformation of the educational sector has emerged as a critical enabler, fostering human development, capital development, reducing inequalities, and promoting long-term socioeconomic growth. The United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development identifies quality education as the fourth of the 7 sustainable goals. SDG 4 calls for inclusive and equitable quality education and the promotion of lifelong learning opportunities for all. Yet, as of 2023, over 263 children and youth remain out of school globally, and vast disparities in educational quality persist. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated a pre-existing recognition that traditional education models are insufficient to meet the scale, the speed, and the complexity of the 21st century challenges. Digital transformation in education goes beyond the mere introduction of computers or internet connectivity into classrooms. It involves a systematic reconfiguration of educational structures and institutional processes through the integration of advanced digital technologies. This includes the use of e-learning platforms like Coursera, virtual classrooms, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and cloud-based systems to enhance both teaching and learning experiences. As a result, education is becoming more accessible, flexible, personalized, and aligned with the demands of a rapidly changing global environment. At the same time, the global community continues to grapple with the challenge of achieving sustainable development. Sustainable development emphasizes the need to balance economic growth, social inclusion, and the environmental protection to ensure that present needs are met without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Education plays a central role in this process as it equips individuals with the knowledge, skills, and values required to address complex global challenges such as poverty, inequality, climate change, and technological disruption. In this context, the digital transformation of the educational sector emerges as a powerful driver of sustainable development. By expanding access to education, improving learning outcomes, fostering innovation, and promoting lifelong learning, digital technologies have the potential to accelerate progress toward a more inclusive and sustainable future. However, realizing this potential requires a comprehensive understanding of both digital transformation and sustainable development, as well as the ways in which they connect. In rounding off, digital transformation of educational sector represents a powerful and transformative force with the potential to drive sustainable development across social, economic, and environmental dimensions. By expanding access to education, improving quality, promoting lifelong learning, and supporting innovation, digital technologies can help to address some of the most pressing challenges facing our society today. However, realizing this potential, we need strategic and inclusive approach that addresses existing barriers and ensures that the benefits of digital transformation are equally distributed. This includes investing in digital infrastructure, promoting digital literacy, and developing supportive policies and frameworks. And finally, ultimately, the integration of digital technologies into education is not just a technological shift, but a fundamental reimagining of how education can contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future. As such, it must be guided by a clear vision and a commitment to the principles of sustainable development. Education, they say, is the bedrock of development. And a nation that does not educate its youth is planning to go beneath the earth. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful speech. Your Excellencies, I hope we're still paying attention. Are we tired? Are we tired? Okay. So, one last thing before I yield back to the PGA. We would be taking a video address from the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres.
Dear friends, our world is in flux, power is shifting, divisions are deepening, and our future is clouded by climate chaos and runaway technologies. But together we can turn crisis into opportunity. By taking part in a model United Nations simulation, you are learning what it takes to build a better world. It takes stamina, a command of the facts, and the courage to see other perspectives, always putting the needs of the most vulnerable first. Across the globe, young people like you are driving change through advocacy, organizing, and public service. Your energy and determination inspire me. Keep using your talents for good. At United Nations, we are committed to opening more doors for young people to shape the decisions that affect their lives. Yes, these are challenging times, but challenging times forge great leaders. I know some of those leaders are in this room today. Thank you for believing in the power of global cooperation. Together, we can build a world of dignity, justice, and peace for all.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. As we are well aware, the UN Secretary General just addressed us, and that should serve as a notice that everything we do here is very important. So let your deliberations and your resolutions show just how much you value and you enjoy every single thing that you are doing here today. I yield the floor back to the President of the General Assembly. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, we are going into state presentation now, and the theme is digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver of sustainable development. We will follow the sequence of the speakers list. According to the speakers list, the delegate of Oman, you recognize. Please take the floor.
The President, Secretary General, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I arise as the delegate of Oman to present a position paper on the topic which says digital transformation of educational sector as a driver of sustainable development. Oman launched its National Long-Term Development Strategy, Oman Vision 2040, in 2020 to guide economic diversification and sustainable growth, moving away from heavy oil reliance and aiming for balanced social, environmental, and economic progress. This vision sets measure. This vision sets measurable sustainability goals across sectors long before digital transformation took root. Economic diversification and sustainability prior to large-scale digital initiatives. Oman's sustainable development progress was largely tied to economic diversification, expanding non-oil sectors such as logistics, services, tourism, and renewable energy infrastructure. These moves help broaden the economic base and stabilize growth. The country steadily improved infrastructure for renewables and conversion. Limited, the data transformation era. Sustainability mostly driven by physical infrastructure and economic reforms rather than tech. The advantages that Oman has are efficiency, cause reduced time spent on administrative tasks and vaster connections. Another is sustainability, which is less paper use and fewer car trips to government building. Also, innovation, through growth of the SME sector, using tech-driven business models. The Oman 2040 Vision Implementation Follow-up Unit has published its third annual report, focusing on the actual performance of government entities across various economic and development sectors throughout 2023. The Oman 2040 Vision The report evaluates these entities' roles in achieving the vision goals targets set by the Oman 2040 Vision. Thank you.
Australia, you're recognized. Please proceed.
Distinguished Chair, Honorable Delegates, respected members of this Assembly. The delegation of Australia stands before you today, driven by a shared vision of progress, collaboration, and sustainable impact. The delegate of Australia firmly believes that the digital transformation of education is a critical driver of sustainable development, social inclusion, and economic resilience. Australia has implemented concrete national policies that demonstrate how technology-enabled education can advance long-term sustainability. In support of SDG 4, quality education, Australia has taken direct action to ensure equitable access to digital learning. In 2025, the Australian government launched the Digital Inclusion for Schools Fund, committing $120 million Australian dollars to provide digital devices, internet connectivity, and digital literacy support to schools, particularly in the regional, remote, and disadvantaged communities. This initiative was designed to close the digital divide and ensure that all students, regardless of background or location, can access quality digital education. To strengthen education systems through innovation and infrastructure, in line with SDG 4, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, Australia began the implementation of major digital education reforms between 2024 and 2026. This includes the Tertiary Collection of Student Information, TCSI Renewal Project, which modernizes national education data systems to improve efficiency, security, and service delivery in higher education. Beyond national borders, Australia remains committed to SDG 17, Partnerships for the Goals, through its International Development and Education Assistance Program. Particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, Australia supports digital education system, teacher capacity building, and lifelong learning initiatives to students. These partnerships help to strengthen educational resilience, promote regional stability, and support sustainable development outcomes globally. Your Excellency, Australia's experience demonstrates that digital education is not merely a technological upgrade, but a strategic investment in sustainable development. By empowering students, bridging learning gaps, and fostering innovation, Australia is investing in a future that is inclusive, resilient, and forward-looking. As we look ahead, the opportunities are limitless, and responsibility to harness them widely rests with each and every one of us. Australia therefore encourages member states to adopt comprehensive digital education strategies, strengthen global collaboration under UNESCO's mandate, and ensure that no learner is left behind in the digital age. Thank you. The delegate of Australia hereby lead the floor back to the President. Thank you.
Delegate of Liberia, please take the floor.
Good day, President of the General Assembly, the Secretary General, Rapporteur, distinguished delegates, and all member states of the General Assembly. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia rises to contribute to the debate on the theme, Digital Transformation of the Educational Sector as a Driver of Sustainable Development. Delegates, let us all remember that human history teaches us that the pursuit of peace, prosperity, and human dignity has always required a collective vision. In 2015, under the leadership of the United Nations, the global community adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals as a universal blueprint designed to eradicate poverty, reduce inequality, protect our planet, and ensure progress for all. These goals, these ambitions, are not just policies, but promises we all make to future generations. Beneath the architecture of every one of these ambitions lies a powerful and transformative force called education, the foundation upon which knowledge, innovation, and sustainable societies are built. Today, education transcends beyond the traditional boundaries. It has gone beyond the four walls of the classrooms into a limitless global network. When merged with digital technology, learning becomes borderless, knowledge becomes accessible, and classrooms expand into a limitless global network when merged with digital technology. The Republic of Liberia strongly acknowledges the immense potential of digitalizing the educational sector. Hence, it calls upon all member states to strengthen international cooperation through innovation, knowledge sharing, and technological partnership to ensure that no nation is left behind in this revolution. As rightly said by the Secretary General of the United Nations, that it is only together we can foster unity, justice, and peace for all. Also, as rightly said by the Secretary General of this Assembly, it is only together we can build a resilient, versatile, and flexible educational system that can be able to stand any challenge that we face. We all can remember the period of COVID-19 pandemic. When the pandemic came, our educational systems were shut down. Why? Because it was not flexible. But if we all come together and put forward our ideas, our perspective, regarding the educational sector, we can be able to build that resilient, that flexible educational system. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia hereby use the floor. Back to
the delegate of Israel, you are recognized. Please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. The President of the United Nations, the Secretary General, the Rapporteur, and all distinguished delegates. Delegates of Israel rise to present a position paper as regarding the theme, digital transformation of the education sector as a driver of sustainable development. The future of education is being reshaped by technology. And around the world, digital transformation is changing the way teachers teach, students learn, and now knowledge is shared. Israel is one of these countries driving this change by integrating digital tools into the educational system to support sustainable development. Statistics have shown how widely digital learning is adopted in Israel. According to the Organization for the Economic and Social Development, about 47% of students in Israel reported as using digital tools for learning for at least 1 hour each day. In addition, 47% of teachers in Israel reported as country using digital tools, online lesson, or hybrid classes, recently showing how digital learning is adopted in Israel. In Israel, digital transformation of the education sector also helps preserve culture. By using digital platforms and online resources, students in Israel can learn about their culture in interactive ways, showing how technology has supported both modern learning and cultural heritage. Digital transformation in Israel education sector also helps contribute to sustainability. By using digital textbooks, online assignments, and cloud-based resources, schools in Israel reduce paper and increase sustainability efficiently. The President, Secretary General, the Rapporteur, delegates of Israel calls on the United Nations for support by investing in digital literacy, innovation, skills, and technology. Israel is presenting its students to become leaders in a rapidly changing digital world. Delegates of Israel yield the floor back to the Madam President of the United Nations.
The delegate of Bulgaria, please take the floor. The delegate of Bulgaria, please take the floor.
On the theme, digital transformation of the educational
delegate of Slovakia, please take the floor.
Your Excellency, President of the Lassmun General Assembly, the Secretary General and Rapporteur, the delegate of Slovakia rises to speak on the topic, digital transformation of the education sector as a driver for sustainable development. Can digital transformation truly reshape educational systems and accelerate progress towards sustainable development? This question has become increasingly relevant as countries around the world integrate digital technologies into their educational systems. Digital transformation can be defined as the integration of digital technologies into various aspects of society and organizations in order to improve processes, service, and outcomes. In the education sector, it involves the use of information and communication technology, such as computers, online learning platforms, digital resources, and internet connectivity, to enhance teaching, learning, and administrative processes. Digital transformation has emerged as an important driver for achieving the objectives of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in the education sector. As societies become increasingly dependent on digital technologies, education systems are also evolving to incorporate technological innovation that enhance access, quality, and inclusiveness in learning. As the education reformer John Dewey once noted, if we teach today's students as we taught them yesterday, we will drop them off tomorrow. These statements highlight the need for modern educational systems to adapt to technological change and prepare learners for future challenges. The United Nations introduced the Sustainable Development Goals as a global framework aimed at addressing major social, economic, and environmental challenges. One of these goals, SDG 4, focuses on ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. Digital transformation. In conclusion, digital transformation has become a powerful tool for advancing sustainable development in education. The delegate of Slovakia hereby yields the floor back to the President. Thank you.
The delegate of Guyana, you are recognized. Please take the floor.
Madam President, the Rapporteur, the Secretary, Member of the General Assembly, Honorable Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, warm greeting from the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It is a great honor to address this distinguished assembly on the themes digital transformation of the education sector as a driver of sustainable development. Digital transformation is playing a vital role in improving education and supporting sustainable development. In Guyana, notable achievements have been made, including the provision of computer, digital learning tools, improve internet access, and training programs for teachers. These efforts are helping to improve these learning are helping to improve access to quality education and build a knowledge-driven society. However, significant challenges remain. Many remote communities still lack reliable internet and proper digital infrastructure. The high cost of technology also limits access for schools and students. In addition, more training is needed to help teachers effectively use digital tools in the classroom. Therefore, there's a strong need for greater investment and collaboration. Government, private organizations, and international partners must work together to improve trainings and support. In conclusion, while all progress has been done, addressing this challenge is essential to ensure inclusive and effective digital education for all. The delegates of Guyana use the floor. Back to Madam President.
The delegate of Indonesia, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. The delegates of Croatia hereby rises to present a position paper on the theme Digital Transformation of the Educational Sector as a Driver of Sustainable Development. Digital transformations of Croatia's education is the central pillar of the nation's strategy, sustaining students with future-proof skills while fostering a green and resilient economy. This led to the initiatives such as e-school program and BRAIN project. Croatia had invested into the integration of AI into primary and secondary education with the plans of investing €60 million, digital infrastructure €870 million, and teacher training to enhance quality, equity, and efficiency in learning. Croatia had driven the sustainable development and achieved quality education. Croatia also faces challenges in the education system, including outdated infrastructure and limited digital literacy among teachers. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the need for digital readiness, with some schools struggling to adapt to online learning. The government had invested to modernize the digital infrastructure and build capacity for effective integration of digital technology. With this, the government had programmed a digital skills training. Over 260,000 students and 43,500 teachers are involved in digital initiatives. 4.3% of employees are ICT specialists, with an increase of 60.2% in the year 2023. Despite the progress in the digital skills training, some students and teachers still lag behind, with the average of 79.2% and 78.8% respectively. Croatia's low employment rate is also a major concern and productivity. This led to the goals of SDG 8, focusing on reducing unemployment, creating more jobs opportunity. Therefore, with this, the people of Croatia can gain easy access into the internet and make usage of digital devices in building ability in programming, web designing, graphic designing, and so on, for the purpose of self-employment. The government had also outlined the need for privacy protection, inter-school connectivity, reliable power supply globally, and making school curriculum and assessment well secured. Madam President, the people of Croatia are appealing for support and international collaboration with the United Nations related to advance the digital maturity of its education as a key driver of sustainable development. The delegates of Croatia use the floor. Back to Madam President.
Your Excellencies, to save time and give more speaking opportunity to other distinguished delegates, may I request for a motion to suspend the proceeding for 5 minutes, during which the committee sections that have been recorded will be loaded and played, after which the chair and all the rapporteur of each committee will present their resolution as a closing plenary of the General Assembly. The delegates of Israel, you recognize, please proceed to move the motion. Thank you. Is there any delegate to second the motion? The delegate of Togo, you recognize, please proceed to move the motion. Thank you, delegates. The General Assembly is hereby called to order for the commencement of the closing plenary. There are 6 committee reports, resolution available for consideration and debate. They are that of the first committee, disarmament and international security.
Security First Committee. Recalling its resolution 70/1,
Transforming our world. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly Sustainable Development Goal on ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education. Recognizing the reports of the United Nations Group of Governmental Experts on developments in the field of information and telecommunications in the context of international security, which emphasizes responsible state behavior in cyberspace. Acknowledging UNESCO's recommendation on open educational resources, 2019, which promotes safe, equitable, and open access to digital learning materials. Concerned by the increasing numbers of cyber attacks targeting educational institutions, online learning platforms, and students' data. Emphasizing that digital education infrastructure constitutes critical civilian infrastructure deserving protection under international norms. The first committee
session of Lassmun 2026 is hereby set as 2 minutes. Your Excellencies, we are going into member state presentations now, and the theme is digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver of sustainable development. For recognition, please raise your placards. The delegates of Croatia, you are hereby recognized to present your position paper.
The delegates of Croatia hereby rises to present a position paper on the theme Digital Transformation of the Educational Sector as a Driver of Sustainable Development. Digital transformations of Croatia's education is the central pillar of the nation's strategy, sustaining students with future-proof skills while fostering a green and resilient economy.
The delegates of the Republic of Guatemala hereby stand to present a position paper on the theme Digital Transformation of the Educational Sector as a Driver of Sustainable Development. In the Republic of Guatemala, digital transformation has become a critical pathway towards achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly Sustainable Development Goal 4, Quality Education, and Sustainable Development Goal 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure. Government programs have also promoted digital literacy and the use of online learning platforms in public schools. But, Mr. President, despite this progress, significant challenges remain. Many rural communities in the Republic of Guatemala, particularly in the Western Island, continue to face limited internet and insufficient infrastructure.
Moreover, this policy has benefited over 1,000 teachers, despite the fact that the policy is still in its implementation stage. However, most of these teachers still haven't grasped full integration of these digital tools in their various classes. The Republic of Chile aims to solve this problem by employing digital tech experts that will serve as coaches for these teachers in their various schools.
Distinguished delegates, the first committee session of Lassmun 2026 is hereby adjourned till Lassmun 2027.
Second Committee of the General Assembly, Economic and Financial.
Distinguished delegates, the Economic and Financial Committee, ECOFIN, we are affirming the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development 2015, which highlights education economic growth, recognizing initiatives by international financial institutions, including the World Bank, aimed at expanding access to quality education, recalling Sustainable Development Goal 8 on promoting sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth and decent work for all. acknowledging the growing role of digital skills in workforce, readiness, and productivity. The second committee of the 7th Lassmun General Assembly, 1. Urges member states to invest in affordable, reliable, and sustainable digital infrastructure for schools, particularly in developing countries, including broadband connectivity, access to digital device, renewable energy solutions for off-grid areas. 2. Encourages the integration of digital literacy, technical skills, and entrepreneurship education into national systems to improve employability and economic resilience. 3. Supports the establishment and expansion of public-private partnerships to reduce the cost of digital learning tools, supports innovation in education technology, EdTech. C. Facilitate technology transfer and local content development. 4. Recommends targeted financial incentives and concessional financing for developing countries, undertaking digital education, reforms aligned with national development strategies. 5. Proposes the creation of a voluntary multi-donor UN fund to support digital education initiative that 1. Reduces inequality in workforce preparation, supports skills training for youth and women, supports small and medium-sized enterprises through education-linked innovation. 6. Encourages monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to assess the economic impact of the digital education investment. I hereby yield the floor to Madam President.
Transformation journey and stand ready to collaborate with member states. The delegate of Bhutan used the floor back to the chief.
Thank you very much, delegate of Bhutan, for that wonderful country position paper. The delegate of Armenia, your
Third Committee of the General Assembly, Social, Humanitarian, and Cultural Video.
Distinguished delegates, members of the dais, and future leaders of our great states and nations, welcome to the Third Committee, Social, Humanitarian, and Cultural of the Lagos State Secondary Model United Nations, Lassmun 2026. As we gather here today, we carry the weight of a theme that is vital to our collective future: digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver of sustainable development. Our mission in this committee is to ensure that transformation does not leave anyone behind. I challenge you today to move beyond rhetoric, negotiate with passion, but also with empathy. To the rapporteur, the floor is yours.
Delegates, when your country is being called, please stand and clearly state your status as present or present and voting. I will now proceed to do the roll call. Albania, present and voting. Bahrain, present. Brunei, present and voting. Colombia, present.
Delegates of Brunei rises to present the position paper on the theme Digital Transformation of the Education Sector as a driver of sustainable development. Digital transformation in Brunei education sector drives sustainable development by fostering 21st century skills, enhancing method through technology, and supporting the digital economy master plan. The key initiatives include integrating the digital classroom program, leveraging learning, management system, and adoption of digital tools in making education more interactive and engaging. Focus on training and development in digital technology, crucial to equipping students for the future workforce. Delegate of Brunei, use the floor back to the chair.
The delegate of Cuba, you are here very recognized.
The delegate of Cuba rises to present a position paper on the theme Digital Transformation of the Education Sector as a driver for sustainable development. Cuba believes that education is a right and a foundation for sustainable development. Our country has now provided free education at all levels and achieved very high literacy. Cuba is actively transforming its education system through information and communication technology. We call on the international community to promote teacher training in ICT so that digital transformation reduces rather than deepens inequalities. The delegates of Cuba hereby use this for Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. The draft resolution of the Third Committee, Social, Humanitarian, and Cultural Issues of Lassmun General Assembly at the 7th session, recalling Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which framed education as a fundamental human right, acknowledging the Convention of Rights of the Child, particularly articles relating to access, education, and development, recognizing the UNHRC education strategy and the importance of education in humanitarian causes. Deeply concerned about the digital divide, and its impact on vulnerable populations. Therefore, the Third Committee, Social, Humanitarian, and Cultural Issues of the Lassmun General Assemblies calls on the member states of the United Nations and sub-national governments. 1. Calls for equitable access to digital learning platforms and marginalized vulnerable groups, including refugees, internally displaced persons, persons with disabilities, and those in rural areas. 2. Encourages member states to adopt inclusive design in digital education platforms to ensure access for learners with disabilities. 3. Promotes the development of cultural sensitivity and integration cultural curricula that reflects local content and respects cultural diversity. Urges humanitarian and development agencies to integrate digital tools into response and recovery programs where feasible and appropriate. Encourages cooperation with civil society and organizations and communities to ensure that digital education initiatives are rights-based and community-driven. 5. Requires the Secretary General to successful practices in rights-based digital learning and humanitarian settings. The talk about the Madam President of the United Nations.
Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for adoption of the Fourth Committee resolution. Delegate to second. Delegation of Iraq recognized. Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for adoption of the second committee may proceed for their presentation. The delegate of Azerbaijan, you recognize, please proceed. Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for adoption of the third committee resolution. The delegate of France, you recognize, please proceed. The Fourth Committee of the General Assembly, Special Political and Decolonization.
Esteemed delegates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to welcome you all to the Fourth Committee of this year's Lassmun Conference, convened under the theme, Special Political Decolonization in relation to the Lassmun digital transformation as a driver to sustainable development. In an increasingly digital world, true sovereignty extends between territory to include control over technology and data. This raises a critical question. Can sustainable development be achieved without digital independence? Control over digital infrastructure, data, and technological systems now represent a critical dimension of national dependence. As chair, I encourage constructive dialogue, diplomacy, and innovative thinking in line with the core values of the United Nations: diplomacy, cooperation, and mutual respect throughout our deliberations. Thank you. The rapporteur may proceed with the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the floor. Delegates, once your country is called, please respond by saying present or present and voting. Delegates of Myanmar.
Present and voting. According to the speaker's list, the delegate of Panama has the floor to present a position paper.
Panama calls on the United Nations to support frameworks that prevent digital colonialism and ensure that digital transformation empowers developing nations. The country remains committed to sustainable development that preserves both its political and digital independence. The delegate of Panama leads the floor back to the Chair.
The delegate of Myanmar rises to present a position paper on the topic digital transformation of education sector as a driver of sustainable development. To have equal access to education in Myanmar, the country has invested in affordable digital learning systems. This includes low-cost tablets, community learning centers with computers, and offline digital content for areas with weak internet. Many students from the rural areas are also cut off from quality learning, but with downloaded lessons, radio-based learning, and some solar-powered devices, learning can continue without any interruption. Switzerland operates a decentralized education system managed by authorities and supported by federal government. Education is compulsory for approximately 11 years, with over 95% of students enrolled in public schools, ensuring equal access to quality education. The Chair appreciates your contribution. Your points are well noted. Esteemed delegates, we have come to the end of the fourth committee session, as there are no further points or positions. I thank you all for your contribution, motion, and suggestions. I hereby bring this fourth committee session to a close.
Draft resolution of special political and decolonization of the fourth committee of the Lassmun General Assembly as its seventh session. Special political and decolonization as the theme, recalling the declaration of the granting of independence to colonial countries and people, 1960, recognizing education as a cornerstone of peace building, reconciliation, and political participation, acknowledging Goal 16 of the 2030 Agenda on Peace, Justice, and Strong Institutions, noting the long-term educational disruptions caused by conflicts and instability. Therefore, the Special Political and Decolonization Committee calls on member states of the United Nations and subnational to urge UN peace operations and special political missions to support digital education initiatives as part of peace building and stabilization efforts consistent with their mandate, encourages the use of digital learning platforms to maintain access to education in conflict-affected and post-conflict settings, particularly for children and youth, calls upon members, states, to share best practices and lessons learned on using education for reconciliation and social cohesion through digital means, supports regional and interregional cooperation to develop context-specific digital education strategies for post-colonial and conflict-affected regions, requests relevant UN bodies to coordinate with local authorities to ensure that digital education initiatives respect national sovereignty and local priorities. The fourth committee hereby yields the floor back to Madam President. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for adoption of the third committee resolution. The delegate of Romanian, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion. Thank you, delegate. Fourth Committee of the General Assembly, Special Political and Fifth Committee of the General Assembly, Administrative and Budgetary.
Distinguished
delegates, welcome to the Fifth Committee. As the Administrative and Budgetary Committee, we translate the United Nations grandiose visions into funded realities. This year's theme, digital transformation of the education sector as a driver of sustainable development, is ultimately a question of resources. After all, a vision without a budget is merely a hallucination. To achieve SDG 4, quality education, closing the digital divide requires hard capital. Our task is to efficiently allocate resources to support SDG 9, innovation, industry, and infrastructure, financing secure digital networks for schools worldwide. Before I proceed, I hereby yield the mark to the rapporteur to take the roll call.
Thank you, my chair. As rapporteur, I now take the call of all the delegates. At the call of any delegate, we either answer present or present and voting. Now, if you answer present, it means you won't be given the opportunity to speak on the floor. But if you answer present and voting, it means you will have the opportunity to speak. Australia.
Present.
Madagascar.
Present and voting.
United Arab Emirates.
Present.
Sri Lanka.
Present and voting. The floor is now open for delegates to present their proposition paper. If you want to speak, signify by raising up your placards. The delegates of Costa Rica, you are recognized.
The delegate of Costa Rica speaks before the esteemed committee with profound conviction that digital transformation of our education sector is an essential engine driving our sustainable development. To achieve Sustainable Development Goal 4, inclusive and equitable quality education, we must recognize that digital literacy is as fundamental as reading and writing. Costa Rica is aggressively laying the groundwork for the future, guided by national digital economy and society policy framework.
Government of Madagascar and partners like UNICEF, UNESCO, and the World Bank are working to modernize the education sector using digital tools. Despite progress, several challenges remain, like limited electricity supply in rural areas, poor internet connectivity, high cost of digital devices, and a lack of digital skills among teachers and students. However, to strengthen digital transformation, Madagascar can expand the internet and electricity access to rural schools, provide affordable digital devices, increase teacher training in digital literacy. Delegates of Madagascar hereby use the floor back to the chair. Thank you, delegates of Madagascar. Distinguished delegates, it is a great honor to have you all seated here today. I will now read the resolution of the Fifth Committee, Administrative and Budgetary, for the Lassmun General Assembly at its 7th session. Recording the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, with particular emphasis on Sustainable Development Goal 4, Quality Education, Goal 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure, and Goal 17, Partnership for the Goals. Deeply concerned by the expanding digital financial divide, which disproportionately affects least developed countries and rural communities, preventing equitable access to modern education tools. Recognizing its mandate as the administrative and budgetary backbone of the General Assembly, responsible for translating educational ambitions into fully funded and actively managed realities. The Fifth Committee preliminary is now adjourned to Lassmun 2027. We have now come to the end of the Fifth Committee session. Thank you all.
Thank you, Madam President. All protocols duly observed. I read to you the resolution of the Fifth Committee, Administrative and Budgetary Committee of the Lassmun General Assembly at its 7th session. Administrative and Budgetary Committee, Fifth Committee. Recalling Resolution 72 of 267 on improving the financial situation of the United Nations. Recognizing the role of the Global Partnership for Education in supporting national education system. Acknowledging the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development, the Administrative and Budgetary Committee, Fifth Committee. 1. Decides to allocate appropriate resources within the United Nations budget for system-wide digital education initiatives, subject to existing financial regulation. 2. Encourages member states to make voluntary contributions to a global digital education funding mechanism with an emphasis on transparency and accountability. 3. Requests the Advisory Committee on Administrative and Budgetary Questions, ACABQ, to review the cost effectiveness, sustainability, and impact of UN-supported digital education programs. 4, encourages the effective use of existing resources through coordination among UN agencies, funds, and programs involved in digital education. 5, recommends periodic financial reporting on digital education expenditures to General Assembly. Thank you all. The 5th committee hereby use the mic. Back to the President.
Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for the adoption of the 5th committee resolution. The delegate of Afghanistan, you recognize, please.
Afghanistan rises to move the motion for the adoption of the 5th committee. The delegates of Afghanistan hereby use the floor. Back to the President. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Is there any delegate to second the motion for the adoption? Delegate of Nigeria, you recognize, please.
The delegate of Nigeria rises to second the motion for the adoption of the 5th Commission resolution. The delegate of Nigeria use the floor. Back to Madam President.
6th Committee of the General Assembly, legal.
Esteemed delegates, it is my profound honor to welcome you all to the 6th committee of this year's Lassmun conference, convened under the compelling theme, Digital Transformation of the Education Sector as a Driver of Sustainable Development. Gather at a moment when the world stands at the intersection of innovation and necessity. Education, long regarded as the bedrock of progress, is undergoing a profound transformation, one powered by technology, shaped by global challenges, and driven by our collective responsibility to build a more equitable future. As delegates, your task in this committee is not merely to admire innovation, but to interrogate it. You are called upon to examine critical questions. How can digital transformation be made inclusive and accessible to all? What policies are required to safeguard ethical standards while promoting innovation? And most importantly, how can we ensure that no learner, regardless of geography or circumstances, is left behind? Let us work together to shape policies that will not only transform education, but also secure a sustainable future for generations to come. But I will not take the roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for giving me the floor. Delegates, once your country is called, please respond by saying present or present and voting. Delegate of Algeria, present and voting. Of Bosnia and Herzegovina, present and voting. Delegate of Cape Verde, present and voting. 32 delegates present and none absent. I hereby yield the floor back to the chair.
To the speakers list, the delegate of Algeria has the floor to present a position paper. The delegate of Algeria is hereby.
The delegate of Algeria is honored to address this esteemed 6th committee on a matter of growing global importance, the legal dimension of digital transformation in education as a driver of sustainable development. In today's digital age, technology has become an essential tool in expanding access to education, improving learning outcomes, and fostering innovation.
Canada does not operate under a single national education law. Instead, the legal framework guiding digital transformation is shaped by a combination of federal legislature, national policies, and provincial strategies. At the federal level, key instruments include the Policy on Service and Digital, which promotes accessible, user-centered.
In line with the 2030 agenda, Cyprus advocates for strengthening international cooperation while emphasizing that the integration of digital tools and artificial intelligence (AI) is essential to enhance problem-solving innovation. SDG 9.
Monaco supports strict legal safeguards on students' data collection and storage, clear consent frameworks for minors, accountability mechanisms for EdTech providers. Education must remain a space of trust, not vulnerability.
By codifying digital access as a core right, Bosnia and Herzegovina ensures that digital transformation is backed by enforceable guarantees. My country advocates for international legal principles that standardize cybersecurity and protect student privacy globally. We remain
Sixth Committee of the General Assembly, legal.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the floor. Sixth Committee, draft resolution of the Sixth Committee, legal, of the Lassmun General Assembly at its 7th session. Recalling Article 13 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, affirming the right to education, recognizing the UN Guidelines for Consumer Protection 2016, acknowledging UNESCO recommendation concerning education for international understanding, cooperation, and peace, 1974, aware of the legal challenges posed by cross-border digital education. The Legal Committee, 6th Committee, therefore, 1, calls upon member states to harmonize national laws governing cross-border educational data flows while ensuring data privacy and child protection, encourages international dialogue on intellectual property rights and fair use of digital learning materials to promote equitable access to education, supports the development of legal standards that protect students and educators, online and digital education platforms.
The delegate of Estonia, you recognize. Please proceed to move your motion. Thank you, delegate. Is there any delegate to second the motion? The delegate of Burundi, you recognize. Please proceed to move your motion.
The floor back to Madam President.
Thank you, delegate. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the 7th section of Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations, Lassmun, is about to be concluded. On this note, I would like to invite the rapporteur, His Excellency, Ambassador Goodluck Edafe, to present the resolution of this 2026 Lassmun General Assembly.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the floor. The Lassmun 7th General Assembly, recalling its resolution, transforming our world, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly Goal 4, quality education, 8, decent work and economic growth, and 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Reaffirming the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966, and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989, which recognize education as a fundamental human right. Recalling the Declaration on the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples, 1960, and emphasizing education as a cornerstone of self-determination and political development. Recognizing the Addis Ababa Action Agenda on Financing for Development 2015 and the importance of sustainable and predictable financing for education. Acknowledging the report of the United Nations Group of Governmental Experts on Responsible State Behavior in Cyberspace and the growing relevance of cybersecurity for the civilian digital infrastructure. Recognizing UNESCO recommendation on open educational resources 2019 and its roles in promoting equitable access to quality digital learning content. Acknowledging the work of the Global Partnership for Education, the World Bank, the UNHCR, and other relevant international and regional organizations in advancing education. Alarmed by the widening digital divide, particularly affecting developing countries, conflict-affected regions, refugees, and other vulnerable groups. Emphasizing that digital education contributes to peace building, economic development, social inclusion, and international cooperation. The 7th session of Lassmun General Assembly therefore affirms that access to safe, inclusive, and quality digital education is an essential component of the right to education in the 21st century. It calls upon member states to ensure equitable access to digital learning opportunities for all learners, particularly refugees, internally displaced persons, persons with disabilities, women and girls, and marginalized communities. Encourages the development of culturally inclusive, multilingual, and locally relevant digital curricula that respect diversity and promote mutual understanding. recognizes digital education infrastructure as critical civilian infrastructure and stresses the need to protect it from cyber threats and malicious activities. Also, it calls upon member states to strengthen international cooperation on cybersecurity norms relevant to educational platforms consistent with voluntary UN cyber confidence building measures. It also encourages the integration of cybersecurity awareness and digital responsibility into educational curricula at appropriate levels. Urges member states to invest in affordable, resilient, and sustainable digital infrastructure for schools, particularly in developing countries and undeserved areas. Encourages the integration of digital skills, entrepreneurship, and technical education into national education systems to enhance workforce readiness and inclusive economic growth. Support public-private partnership that expand access to digital learning tools, encourage innovation, and facilitate technology transfer. Urges UN peace operations and special political missions within their mandate to support digital education initiatives as part of stabilization, peace building, and reconciliation efforts. Encourages regional and international cooperation to share best practices on the use of digital education for social cohesion and political development in post-conflict and post-colonial regions. Calls upon member states to harmonize legal and regulatory frameworks governing cross-border digital education, including data protection, child safety, and equitable access. It also encourages international dialogue on intellectual property and fair use of digital learning materials to promote affordable and lawful access to education. Requests the International Law Commission to study the legal implication of digital education for sustainable development, including jurisdiction, liability, and data governance. Decides to support digital education through efficient use of existing UN resources and, where appropriate, additional budgetary allocations. Encourages member states to make voluntary contributions to a global digital education funding mechanism with transparency and accountability. Requests the Advisory Committee on Administrative and Budgetary Questions to review the cost effectiveness and sustainability of UN-supported digital education programs. Encourages enhanced coordination among UN agencies, funds, and programs involved in digital education to avoid duplication and maximize impact. Lastly, requests the Secretary General to submit a comprehensive report to the General Assembly on the implementation of the present resolution, including best practices, challenges, and recommendations for future actions. Thank you for listening.
Your Excellencies, you may move a motion for adoption of the Lassmun 2025 resolution as presented. The delegate of Slovakia, you are recognized. Please proceed.
The delegate of Slovakia rises to move the motion for the adoption of the General Assembly resolution. The delegate of Slovakia hereby use the floor back to the President. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any delegate to second the motion? The delegate of Liberia, you recognize. Please proceed to move the motion.
Thank you, Madam President. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia rises to second the motion to adopt the resolution of the Lassmun General Assembly 2026. The delegate of the Republic of Liberia hereby use the floor. Back to the President.
Thank you. The Lassmun 2026 resolution A/REA/06/01 is hereby adopted by consensus. May I call for a motion to adjourn the General Assembly till Lassmun 2027. The delegate of Chad, you are recognized. Please proceed to move your motion.
The delegate of Chad rises to move a motion to adjourn the General Assembly to 2027. Delegate of Chad, use the floor back to the chair.
Thank you, delegate. Is there any delegate to second the motion? The delegate of Albania, you're recognized. Please proceed to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Madam President. The delegate of Albania rises to move the motion for the adjournment of the General Assembly to 2027. The delegate of Albania yields the floor back to the President.
Thank you, delegate. This General Assembly is hereby adjourned to Lassmun 2027.
Distinguished Excellencies, our special guests, thank you all so much. This has been a very wonderful session of Lassmun 2026, and I'm very sure we're all eager and excited for Lassmun 2027. Now, quickly, I would like to call on the representative of the Chairman Teaching Service Commission, Dr. Adeleye, to give a short closing address. Please, Your Excellencies, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I actually am the representative of the Permanent Secretary, Teaching Service Commission, and not the chairman. But in any way, we are all together. So I'm here to deliver the message of the Permanent Secretary, Teaching Service Commission, Mr. Rafiu Olawale Ojikutu, at the 7th edition of Lagos Secondary Schools Model United Nations Lassmun 2026 General Assembly. My name particularly is Dr. Mrs. Bukola Aduni Adeleye, Director, Policy, Plans, Research and Statistics Department. So the message is given thus. I bring you warm greetings on behalf of the Permanent Secretary and the entire leadership of the Commission. It is a privilege to be part of this 7th edition of the Lagos Secondary School Model United Nations. Let me commend the organizers for sustaining this commendable platform, which continues to inspire leadership, critical thinking, and global relevance among our students. The theme of this year's forum, digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver of sustainable development, is both timely and aligned with the strategic direction of the government of Lagos State. We are in an era defined by rapid technological advancements and age where digital innovation is reshaping how we live, how we work, and most importantly, how we learn. Education as the best track of any society cannot afford to remain static in a dynamic digital world. Digital transformation in education goes beyond the mere introduction of computers into classrooms. It involves a comprehensive integration of technology into teaching, learning, administration, and policy development. It is about creating a system that is more inclusive, accessible, efficient, and future-oriented. When effectively implemented, digital transformation serves as a powerful catalyst for sustainable development. It enhances access to quality education regardless of geographical location, bridges learning gaps, and equips students with digital skills required to thrive in a global economy. Distinguished audience, sustainable development, as we know, is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Through digital platforms, students can access a vast world of knowledge behind the confines of textbooks. Teachers are empowered with innovative tools to deliver engaging and personalized learning experience. Administrative processes become more transparent and efficient, thereby improving overall educational governance. Without mincing words, under the leadership of Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, the state's development agenda recognizes and works with education and technology, the third pillar of Themes Plus agenda, as a critical pillar for sustainable growth. This pillar underscores the need to build a digitally enabled education system that prepares learners for the realities of a rapidly evolving global economy. Efforts are made to integrate technology into our education system through policies, digital learning initiatives, teacher capacity development, and partnerships with stakeholders. As Nelson Mandela rightly stated, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Today, digital transformation strengthens the power, expanding access, enhancing quality, and fostering innovation. In practical terms, Lagos State has continued to advance digital initiatives within the education sector. These include the integration of e-learning platforms such as School Gates, digital classroom, support systems, and continued capacity development for teachers in information and communication technology. I think I need to mention here that the capacity development of teachers has been a continuous one, which is specifically carried out at a teaching service commission. A lot of trainings have been conducted for teachers so as for us to have a good and improved learning outcomes. However, as we embrace these opportunities, we must also address existing challenges such as access to devices, reliable internet connectivity, and digital literacy gaps. Bridging these gaps is essential to ensuring that no learner is left behind. Dear delegates, as future leaders, policymakers, and global citizens, you must embrace digital skills, think critically, and act responsibly to contribute meaningfully to sustainable development. You are the center of this transformation. Technology is a powerful tool, but its true value lies on how you use it. Use technology not just for consumption, but for innovation. Be creators of solutions, not just users of tools. The digital world offers you limitless opportunities, but it also demands discipline, creativity, and responsibility. I encourage you to go beyond consumption and become creators. In the words of Peter Drucker, the best way to predict the future is to create it. The responsibility to shape the future of education and sustainable development rests with you. In conclusion, digital transformation of the educational sector is no longer optional, nor just a policy direction, but it is imperative. It is a key driver for achieving sustainable development in education and beyond. Let us therefore commit to embracing innovation, fostering inclusivity, and building an education system that prepares every learner for the future. On behalf of my permanent secretary, Mr. Rafiu Olawale Ojikutu, I reaffirm the government's unwavering commitment to advancing digital innovation in education for the benefit of all learners. I encourage you all to actively engage in today's discussion, which we have done, share ideas, and collaborate towards practical solutions that will shape the future of education. Let me hand this charge. If education is the foundation of our future, then digital transformation is the bridge that will take us there. Stronger, smarter, and more sustainable. Let us all cross that bridge together. Thank you for your rapt attention. I wish you a fruitful and impactful forum. God bless you. God bless Lagos State, and God bless Nigeria. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Ma, for that wonderful speech. Lastly, just before we leave, Your Excellencies, are we excited? We're not excited. We're tired. Sorry. You guys have done. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. You have been really amazing. You have been very, very strong speakers. I have enjoyed listening to every single one of you. And as I said earlier, I really cannot wait to see you all on the UN floor. One of these days, we too will be sent to represent Nigeria at the UN General Assembly in September, very soon by the grace of God. So clap for yourselves once again. So to give a closing address, I would like to invite the Tutor General and Permanent Secretary, District 2, Mr. Sonny Omotayo Layemo. Please clap for him.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, the President of Lassmun 2026, the Secretary General, the Rapporteur, our distinguished ambassadors, my colleagues, Permanent Secretary, ladies and gentlemen. Today, you are all spoken. And listen very well. The theme is digital transformation of the educational sector as a driver of sustainable development. Your speech expressed the future of the incoming leaders that are ready to take over leadership. But they yearn for what? They yearn for skill that must be given to them in order to take hold of the future. And I want to tell you today, we have heard your voice. We have heard your aspiration. I know Mr. Governor has done so much, but however, you are telling us it is not yet Uhuru, that we haven't got to that place you want. But I want to tell you today, your aspiration, your voice, your yearnings will be delivered. And I'm promising you, in policy making and all the aspects of state policies, digital transformation in our education sector will be pursued very rigorously. On this note, I want to say we appreciate you all so much. We are looking forward to 2027. And by 2027, we are not going to talking about digital transformation as a driver. We are getting people who are fully transformed and who are ready to take over. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, we have officially come to the end of the Lagos State Secondary School Model United Nations. Thank you very much for being excellent delegates. We really appreciate everything that you have said, and we want you to know that your contributions have been heard, and we hope that these contributions will be sent to member states around the world, not just in Lagos State and not just in Nigeria. My name is Oreolu Atade, and I cannot wait to see you all at Lassmun 2027. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies.
Hello, dear students. Thank you so much. Please bear with us. The AC we tested yesterday were functional. We didn't know it won't be functional today. We tried to make amends, but it didn't respond.